Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm going to be reading another chapter out of my Ghost of the Southern Mountains in Appalachia book by Nancy Roberts. And the chapter is called Highway 19, where Apparitions Still Ride, and it takes place in Flat Woods, West Virginia. The driver of the truck tried his CB radio again. Breaker 19, for northbounder on Highway 19. Another West Virginia trucker's voice crackled back over the CB radio. You got a southbounder. This is the big driver. How's it looking over your shoulder, good buddy? Asked Craig Tolliver. It's clean and green, back to Roanoke, came the reply. This was trucker CB lingo. Yeah, to be honest with you, I would not know what to say if I was talking over CB radio. I'm just saying Roger and out when I get done talking. For the fact that there were no patrol cars, accidents, or hazards over the stretch of road Tulliver would soon be traveling. He had heard some weird stories about this area. His truck tended to hug the inside curve of the mountain road. He knew that a steep drop lay to the left of his cab. A few miles ahead was the hill that had brought death to more than one driver, two of them truckers like himself. It was not the road itself that presented the hazard. It was something far more mystifying. Oh, that don't sound too good. His big trailer truck began to slow climb up the hill. Why should he be so apprehensive? He had driven this road near Flatwoods, West Virginia, many a time, and the trip had always been uneventful. Surely it was only chance that there had been more than one accident along here. The truck went more slowly than usual tonight. Did it to feel reluctant to reach the stretch of highway ahead. What foolishness, he thought. He was overtired, for there was always tension in driving a truck this heavily loaded, and the steel girders he was carrying weighed over 22 tons. Whoa, that's a lot of weight. But yeah, I'd be scared too if you are driving and you start to go like this. Close your eyes and then jump real quick. I mean, if truckers need a rest, they need to pull over to a rest stop and not keep going. No wonder the truck was slow to respond on the upgrade and tended to hurtle forward as he went down the hills. Tulliver strained to see ahead. Now he was approaching the crest of the hill. As he reached it, he saw a sight so amazing he could hardly believe his eyes. Halfway down the incline in his lane was a wagon pulled by 4 horses. On the seat was a man, and beside him a woman with long hair wearing a white dress. He realized with horror that there was not a way in the world he could avoid hitting that wagon. He was in low gear, and although he knew it was fertile, he pressed the brake as hard as he could. As he went down the grade, coming down closer and closer to the wagon, his brakes began to burn. Why didn't the wagon turn into the other lane? And here's a picture that somebody took. I don't know if you can see it with his night vision on, but of the supposed hill that they're talking about, but it's covered in the clouds. It continued its slow and measured pace. He thought of trying to go around it, but he knew the weight of the steel girders would send him hurtling over the embankment. He would never be able to pull back in his own lane ahead of it. He knew in another half minute the couple and their horses would all be one indistinguishable bloody mass beneath the huge wheels of his truck. Tulliver felt a sudden wave of nausea, and as if he were about to black out, in another second he would feel the impact. There was no way to avoid the collision. Then, much to his astonishment, horses, wagon, and the couple all disappeared at the very moment he was braced for the impact. The moon came out, and the road was illuminated behind him. As he looked in his mirror, he could see that there was nothing there. What had happened? Where had the wagon and the couple gone? He knew that he had seen them as clearly as he had ever seen anything in his entire life. Oh, I believe you. Probably thought they looked like flesh and blood, but then when they go right through his truck or just vanish, then it's a ghost. It was only a short distance down the road to the truck stop where he had sometimes paused to refuel or for a cup of hot coffee. He needed that coffee tonight as he had never needed it before. When he lifted it steaming hot to his lips, his hands shook so that they spilled the coffee on the counter. "You seem pretty shaken up, fellow. What's the trouble?" said a voice next to him. He turned to look at the man who had spoken. "You a trucker?" he asked him. The man said, "No, I'm from over at Flatwoods, a few miles from here. Just thought I'd stop in and grab a sandwich." Tolliver shook his head as if he would clear his mind. "You know, if I didn't have good sense, I say I've been seeing things and ought to be put away." "What do you mean?" Had it been another trucker, he would have been too braced to talk about it. But what difference did this old man make? He'll go back to the boondocks of Flatwoods, West Virginia, and nobody in his company would ever be any the wiser. You won't believe this, but coming down that road a few miles back, I was dead sure I was going to run right over the top of a wagon pulled by 4 horses. The man didn't look surprised. "Was there a couple on the seat and the girl wearing a white dress?" "There sure was," said the surprised Tolliver. "How do you know that?" "I've heard that story ever since I was a child. I was on that road one night when I was a young man on my way home from calling on my girl. It was bright moonlight, and up ahead of me I saw an old wagon moving slowly up the hill. There was a man and a girl in a white dress with long yellow hair hanging to her waist. Their wagon was pulled by 4 white horses, and it was loaded down with heaps of things like pioneers would carry. Those horses were milk white, and when they came closer, I could see they wore black harnesses with shiny brass studs. It was the strangest sight I ever saw. Just about the time I was close enough to halt them, that wagon disappeared, and there was nothing on the road at all. It was a sight I'll never forget if I live to be 100. Every now and then somebody sees it. My grandfather told me when that road was no more than a trail, a young couple decided to settle up in here, and they were on their way to camp for the night near Hacker's Creek when a band of Indians attacked and killed them, leaving their bodies beside the road. Every so often, when the moon is bright on certain nights, I've heard tale of that wagon being seen on top of the hill, and it has caused some bad accidents there. Sometimes I wonder about that couple, who they were and why they keep coming back." The old man shook his head, drained the last drop from his coffee mug, and left. And here's a picture of the curved road of Highway 19 right next to this barn. But I'm so sorry that a couple that was just pioneering up there on them hills was killed by Indians. And why they keep coming back? Well, they probably think they're not dead and they're just keep going in like a constant motion where their property was going to be at, like they're delivering supplies back and forth. Well, yeah, you see a milk white horse with black harnesses. They're ghost horses, but that'd be creepy to see for sure. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more book reading content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Quarter channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.